So at this point, American Idol was the big thing.
Yeah,
I'm living in LA and I'm thinking, well, of course I have to audition for American Idol because I'm a singer and they need
absolutely.
singers. And I had no idea who I was as an artist. There was no artist development programs. There were no music schools in every corner at that time. You know, this was just me fresh off the musical theater boat saying, I love to sing. I want to keep singing. This show looks fun.
Yeah.
So that was really, you know, my
Yeah.
attitude towards the show. And I also looked at it as this is an opportunity for me to get my foot in the door, make some connections, and potentially figure out how the heck to make this music dream a reality.
Yeah.
And again, also at that time, the record labels were still very powerful. You know, this is before we had this huge DIY
Yeah.
musician explosion. You know, there were plenty of people producing in their garages at that point, but it just wasn't, record labels still had a lot of power. And so to get your foot in the door through something like a reality television show was a big deal.
Yeah.
The season that I auditioned for was season 4, the year that Carrie Underwood won.
Yeah.
And 100,000 people auditioned for American Idol that year. That was the second highest audition rate in the whole history of the show.
Wow.
And I made it to the top 100. So into Hollywood. So I know.
Let's
So
go.
that was the experience that showed me, oh, I do have something. I do have what it
Yeah.
takes. I can totally do this. Let's go, you know? So for me, American Idol was really, really powerful as far as, you know, instilling some self-belief and confidence. But it was one of those things where I had that major high and then boom, it's over. You know, I went to Hollywood. I had a really, you know, tragic experience in Hollywood because I didn't prepare the right material, the right
Oh,
songs.
yeah.
There was a huge miscommunication and I wasn't prepared, and it's totally my fault. Like I always say that, you know, it's always my fault as far as that situation.
Right.
And so after the show, I was extremely depressed, and I believed that that was like my last shot. You know, I thought to myself, well, that didn't work out. I guess I'm not supposed to do music. That's my last shot. I was depressed. You know,
Yeah.
it was heartbreaking. It was really heartbreaking. But I didn't realize at the time that my husband and we were actually about to have get pregnant, like have our first daughter.
Yeah.
So like things happened when I got off the show that would have never happened had I stayed on it, you know? So there's like
Yeah.
how life kind of takes you through those weird, you know, those weird times. But again, I'm in my mid 20s or like 20, I guess 24 or so, 25 at this point. And I'm pregnant with my first child thinking, oh my God, my life is over. And now I'm really can't do music because I'm a mom. Like
Yeah.
who wants to see like a mom performing on stage? Like that's not cool. You know, moms aren't cool. So that was again, another sort of bump where there was those like two things, you know, those, I always say like the two lies. The first lie was, you know, if you don't make it in the music industry by your early 20s, you're washed up, you know. That's the first lie. So I didn't make it in my early 20s and I got booted off the show before I wanted to. I'm done. My career's over. I'm washed up. Then the second one, if you're a mom, you can't have a music, you know, you can't have a music
Yeah.
career. Those were the two like lies, the two myths that I had to debunk for myself, you know.
Love that.
So
I think that's powerful too, just for, you know, again, for anybody that's listening, it's like, if you could ask yourself, like, what is a lie or two lies that you're telling yourself? And it's sometimes harder when you're in it, right? Because maybe you're pregnant, you're like, oh my God, I'm a mom. Like this is, you know, but I think that's super important in looking at those. And, you know, something my mentor, Tony Robbins, always teaches me is it's like, if there's someone else out there that's done what you want to do, that you could do it. Right. And it's like, are there moms that got pregnant and then crushed it in their music career? Absolutely. There's people out there that have done that. Right. But it's like, sometimes we get so caught up in our head that we go, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. So I think it could be massively important for anyone listening to just, you know, sit down for a second, go like, what is something I tell myself every single day? And let me just sort of like almost physically like pull it out of my head and go like, that's a lie that I tell myself every single day that I don't need to put up with.
that's right. That's
right? And
exactly right.
so you figure out these two lies, right? And then was this when the conversation in the Vegas trip happened, and kind of resparked, or how did you come out of that sort of
So
down?
the yes, this totally brings us to the Vegas pool conversation with my
Yeah.
husband, where, at that point we had moved from LA to Dallas, and I wasn't doing music, and I was suffering and he was suffering. And he just said, look, if you don't do music in some way, some form or fashion, if you're not performing, not only are you going to make yourself nuts, but you're going to make me crazy. And he was right. And that was like the catalyst that really gave me that confidence to keep moving forward and pressing on, even though I was a mom, even though at
Yeah.
this point I was in my late 20s. It's like I had let years pass, since that idol experience. And
Right.
I don't want to tell people I wasted years, but I wasted years. Like, I had wonderful, great years as my kid was, my
Yeah.
firstborn was young, and I don't regret any of that. I'm not saying that. It's just my mentality was not in a place where I was feeling like a victim. I
Yeah.
was feeling like, who am I? I lost all sense of identity. And this pool conversation was instrumental in giving me again that confidence and self-belief that I could keep pressing. And that was a huge game changer for me.